Hello everyone! Why have I got this as it's set to 4? Qualifying doesn't start in an hour and 13 minutes, guys. No. What have I done there? Thinking qualifying was at 4 PM. I mean, it's definitely not at 4 PM, is it? Let me just double check that. No, it is at 3 PM. It is at 3 PM. Hey everyone, hey. It's 4 yeah, 4 PM for some of you, not for me. Let me alter that, shall I? Let me alter it. Right, 3 PM. That's the one. 12 minutes. 12 minutes remaining. If I can get it to work, hang on. There we go. Bosh. Ready to rock and roll. Ready to rock and roll, everyone. Hope you are too. For what no doubt is going to be a very, very close and interesting qualifying session. There is supposedly a little bit of rain in the air. Just a little bit of rain. Just a little bit. Not gonna lie, I was chilling on the sofa and I was like, oh crap, I'm live soon. It's 3 AM for you. Oh my goodness. Yeah, it's not that here. Get your caffeine. Get your caffeine intake in. But yes, welcome everyone. Hope you're good. Why do I not go to the races, Ghost? Money. That's literally it. Money. It's too expensive to go to F1. Even in the UK, it's expensive, and yeah, I enjoy doing this. I enjoy doing this. So, it's an expensive sport to follow. There is someone actually. I can't remember his name. I come across him on TikTok. He's traveling to every single event this year, and he's trying to budget. He's trying to do it like reasonably, but he's traveling to every single F1 event this year, and he's keeping track of how much it's costing him. I think he said he's put aside a budget of 27,000 with a bit of give and take. That's what he's trying to stay within for the whole year. So 24 race weekends. Obviously, you got accommodation, flights, and everything, travel, spending money of course, spending money when it comes to like food and so forth as well. So yeah. Evening, Ron. Good to see you, mates. That guy must hold lots of Bitcoin, rich boy. Yeah, I mean, obviously, I think he's probably a full-time content creator, but it's interesting, though. When's the session starting? Oh, God, yes. There's me just saying I got it wrong. 10 minutes! 10 minutes! Countdown is on to qualifying. Most F1 teams are based in the UK. I believe most people work for those teams are going to watch this race. 100%. I think most people who probably do work in the sport do watch it. I mean, ultimately, your bonus relies on where the team finishes. So, yeah, I imagine they're primarily invested in it. That doesn't mean everyone is invested in F1. So to some people, they're just in the sport as a job. So, yeah, it's just a job to them. They don't necessarily follow the sport, and that's fine. So, you would have thought it would be way higher than 27k. I mean, I could be putting that figure from completely nowhere, but I'm pretty sure it's around. That. I'll see if I can try and find the guy. But he's trying to do it on like a budget and stuff as well. He's not going VIP sections and things. He's just going general admission tickets every race weekend. So, that shirt is lucky for sure, Alan. He's hoping. Of course, yes, I am a Lewis Hamilton fan. If you are new to this channel, who do I support? To be honest, there's only one driver that I'm a genuine fan of. That is Lewis Hamilton, because I watched him when I was younger, when he came initially into the sports. I was still in school. So, yeah, he is someone that I always want to do well, and I'm always keeping an active eye on how he's getting on. Other drivers I like, and I do want them to do well, some more than others, as is a genuine case. But ultimately, I want to see good racing. I want to see an interesting race. I want to see battles for the lead. I want to see a championship that goes down to the last race of the year. That's what I want, primarily. Just like when it comes to football. I want to see good football matches. I think Russell is going to put up a surprise this session. You think, Michael? I mean, he needs to dig deep. He has struggled. He has struggled for sure with that car. Track temperature, I mean, air temperature is basically what we saw earlier on. There hasn't really been any movement in the track or air temperature, floating around the 19 to 20 degree mark in the air, and then, yeah, floating around the 25 degree mark. It's still cloudy in the UK over Silverstone, so not really many breaks in the weather. So, yeah, going to stay as it is. Do I like tennis? I do. It's a bit like cricket. I don't actively watch it. I keep an eye on it. Hey, Fretterton. Hey, 7 months. Wow, how time flies. How time flies. Sorry, just got to listen to... What is this? Voice note here. Right. You need me to commentate on the Tour de France? That's something I know absolutely nothing about. Renz, I don't understand why in the UK they drive on the wrong side of the road, but on the circuit they go in the right direction. Don't you start. Don't you start. Is Bortoletto going to be qualifying after today's FP3? I think so, yes. I think he will be. It's Josh, similar thing. Similar vein to cricket and tennis, to be honest. Yeah, I love my sports. Same with combat sports. I don't actively follow it, but I'll keep an eye on it. I obviously will have a look at highlights and so forth, like UFC and any of the big boxing fights. I'll tune into, but I'm not like an active, follower who watches things week in, week out and that. So, what brand of mic is this? This is the Rode Podmic. So I wanted the USB mic. Because I couldn't be bothered with the whole fancy aux cords and things like that. I just thought, USB mic, use the in-app software, and it works absolutely fine. So massively improved the quality of the audio for you all listening and tuning in across the world. When I consider the cheese roll in Watchalong, oh my goodness, I saw the TikToks. That one guy who did like he got launched. He got absolutely launched down that hill. If you don't know what I'm talking about when it comes to cheese rolling, guys, go and have a look on TikTok. There is one guy in particular who went viral this year. He got absolutely sent into oblivion. I think he's alive, but yeah. It did look like he died, yes, but apparently he survived and he was fine. Supposedly... the reports were he took some stuff that he shouldn't have done before he went down that hill, and he wasn't in his right frame of mind, so he went a little bit overzealous with his approach to that run. Which I guess to the same extent people could also say that's why he survived. So yeah. It's a shame. You wanted to understand one thing. Why not a driver, let's say Hamilton, take his F1 car and drive it around their local track all week? So there are restrictions in place in F1. It's a very good question and a valid question. So there used to be, in times gone by, you used to be able to do as much testing as you possibly were allowed to, like practice in the current Formula 1 car. However, restrictions are now been put in place that they're only allowed to conduct a certain amount of mileage per year. And that's why it is sometimes a bit more difficult for rookies to come into the sport and hit the ground running like Lewis Hamilton used to do in the past, like Michael Schumacher and so forth in those eras when they initially joined, because they could do thousands of miles. Now, arguably, Kimi Antonelli has had a run plan, and that's, I think, primarily one of the reasons why he has been a little bit more steady when it comes to... Of course, he had a blip in the Red Bull Ring last week, but I think that's why Antonelli has been a little bit more steady in his... opening season, because he had all that mileage in the previous year's cars. So there is a restriction on place that you can't do testing in cars that are 2 years older, within 2 years of the last regs. So you can only go as 2 years, like 3 years and older, basically. And that's what Kimi did, thousands of miles in that. And I think that's helped him. Whereas you look at the like of Liam Lawson, did like no testing in that Red Bull pretty much, other than the actual F1 test at the start of the year. And look how he performed to start off with. So yeah, but ultimately there's restrictions in place now. It's not as free as it used to be. So he never even officially participated. That guy, did he? It'd be more entertaining if they stood at the bottom of the hill in front of the cheese. Can teams pay transfer fees for drivers like in football? Yes. Yes. So in effect, you're basically buying out someone's contract. So what they do is they don't necessarily pay a transfer fee to the team. It's not like, okay, this is how much we want for Max Verstappen. It's literally, well, you have to pay off. We're going to pay Max Verstappen 55 million for the next year, like each year for the next 3 years. You have to give us that amount of money that his contract is worth, and that's the same with football to an extent. You kind of work out how much they're worth by how much they're being paid. You tally that up over the years. But in football, of course, you have the actual value of the player to the team, and yeah, there's a bit more negotiating. Whereas when it comes to F1, it's purely just about what the contract value is worth. So that's why if Max Verstappen is outside of the top 4, I think people believe it is now in the Drivers' Championship, then he will be able to leave for free. His value of his contract is basically null. He can still stay at Red Bull if he wants to, but it means that if he moves somewhere else, there wouldn't be a transfer fee, or they wouldn't have to buy out his contract. So, because in effect, Red Bull haven't lived up to their obligations to Max Verstappen's contract. So, hey Stefano, good to see you. Welcome everyone. Welcome. Slowly but surely creeping up to 50k subs. Yeah, we're getting there. The race is always the big one. The race is the one where we always get, obviously, a nice amount of subs. Of course, if we could hit the halfway mark to that, so 49,500 after this qualifying stream, would be absolutely amazing, as we are only moments away from Q1 at the British Grand Prix getting underway. Now, if you're just tuning in, what happened earlier on in FP3? Well, Ollie Bearman, bit of news for you. Ollie Bearman, he crashed entering the pit lane under red flag conditions. It was, I don't know what he was doing, to be perfectly honest with you, a complete brain fart of a moment. And he has been awarded a 10-place grid penalty for tomorrow and 4 penalty points on his licence. He now has 8 on his licence, and he's only been in F1 a year. So, yeah, that's basically because of 2 red flag infringements. One was at Monaco, and now, obviously, the one here. So, not good start to his weekend because, well, Bearman had been going quite nicely in practice. As you can see there, it was P6 earlier on in FP3, and he looked to have some pace behind him. But now he's got it all to do, because if he doesn't if he doesn't at minimum start 9th, he's going to be starting last tomorrow. So a real shame for him, but we know, as we've seen from some of the midfield teams, it is possible to still score points even if you start at the back of the grid. But qualifying, this could be interesting. It's a very unique circuit, Silverstone, very fast, very flowing, and well, the closing speeds are very dramatic here at Silverstone, so you need to ensure that you are well off the racing line when it comes to letting drivers through. As we have green lights, pit exit open, Q1 is go, go, go. And as you can see, Gabriel Bortoletto, after he's crashed through Maggots and Beckett's earlier on and breaking the front left suspension, that car has been repaired and he is back out there. So well done. Well done, the Sauber mechanics. Well done, the team there, to get that car back out there, because he's looked pretty pacey and looks to have the better, again, of his teammate Nico Hulkenberg. So we'll see how they fare. They'll be looking to get into Q3. Of course, Hulkenberg looking to get out of Q1 and ensure that he doesn't have it all to do on Sunday, because what could he potentially do if he doesn't qualify 20th? He seems to be, he's going for 4 race weekends in a row, Nico Hulkenberg, of scoring points, and well, I think he can do it. I think he most definitely can. Bearman's engineers need to assist a young driver. It's the team's fault. Yeah, I mean, also it's down to he complained about the brakes, but his approach speed into the pit lane was just too quick. They do need to just dial him back in, bring him back a little bit, don't they, and calm Bearman down there. But look, Bearman has shown some pace. Let's see if he can showcase that with a decent qualifying. and minimise. I mean, the fact is that there could still be penalties dished out, of course, with impeding and so forth. It's going to be a very busy qualifying session. 16 minutes remaining of this session as drivers are making their way around there. Now, remember, pole position of last year was a 25.8. We have already seen that lap time be beaten by none other than Charles Leclerc earlier on and Lando Norris yesterday as well. Just checking the weather report for you guys to see exactly what we are expecting as Bortoleto is about to start his lap, so we'll keep an eye out on Bortoleto. So at the moment, it doesn't seem like there's going to be any chance of rain today. However, tomorrow, that rain is getting pushed out to further on later in the day. So we could be seeing rain tomorrow. So qualifying, very important as we know in F1, but it may be even more so important today with those wet weather conditions on the horizon for tomorrow. As we've got Bortoleto makes his way down the Wellington Straight into turn 6. Let's see how he fares under braking into Brooklands. A very fast entry into the left-hander here, then very quickly shifting that car over to turn around on that right-hand corner of Luffield through turn 7. Careful on the throttle there. We've already seen, of course, Carlos Sainz lose control of the car through there as he makes his way up to turn 9, Copse Corner, the famous Copse Corner, as Bortoleto does a 28.195. So we have seen the fastest first sector here earlier on today was actually by Lewis Hamilton at 27.5. So he is around 7/10 slower than what we saw from the Fast Boys earlier on today. But it is still a stake F1 car as Lance Stroll, can he finally get out of Q1? Oh my goodness, how can he get out of Q1, or is he just wanting to extend his record of the most Q1 exits out of anyone? But Gabriel Bortoleto is going to be the first driver to cross the line here and set a banker lap as he makes his way through Club Corner. And, well, what is he going to be able to set here? He's got purple in the middle sector. He is quicker than his teammate at the moment, Nico Hulkenberg, and 27.475 is what Bortoleto has been able to lay down there. I do suspect that we're going to see probably the 26s, mid to low 26s, be the time, really, that these drivers are going to be wanting to achieve. As you can see there, Alex Albon, a 27.8 in the first sector. Oh my goodness, that's similar to what Carlos Sainz did earlier on as well. Carlos Sainz was super quick through the first sector, only beaten by Lewis Hamilton of all people, as Lance Stroll sets a 27.418. So yeah, big improvements to be had here. Now what's really intriguing at Silverstone, of course, it's a very high energy circuit because of how quick it is and how many of those change of directions you have. There's lots of energy put through the tyres as Colapinto and Pierre Gasly almost set identical lap times there and head up to the top of the standings. But Alex Albon is flying at the moment, considerably quicker than the rest of the field. He is super quick through the first sector. He's purple in the second. How does he fare in the last couple of corners? How is that Williams? Of course, he's looking to finish his first race weekend here as he is for the first time in 5 race weekends, as the last 4 he has failed to finish. Alex Albon, he did say that this weekend his aim is just to finish. As I mentioned, we'll be looking at the low 26s probably, and maybe even the 25s for these drivers. And as you can see, Alex Albon smashed it out of the park there in relation to the rest of the field who have set times, the stake cars, Stroll in the Aston Martin and the Alpines. So Alex Albon, I think he's got an opportunity of finishing into Q3 today. But let's stay on board. Who is on a push lap at this moment in time? I think Max Verstappen is the driver out there at the moment on a push lap. So we'll stay on board with Max, shall we? As he makes his way down the Wellington Straight into Brooklands. Let's see how he fares as everyone else is prepping their laps. As he's just gone purple in the first sector at 27.749. That is just under a tenth quicker than that of Alex Albon, as Kimi Antonelli also does a 27.7 there in the first sector. So Kimi Antonelli, F2 race winner last year, of course, winning his first race in treacherous conditions last time around, actually, at this very circuit. So he has got history here of winning. And you can see also Lando Norris there, a 27.762 on his first run through Q1. So Max Verstappen will be that first driver to cross the line here, though, as we see Charles Leclerc does a 27.8. Lewis Hamilton also starting his lap as well as he makes his way through the loop. We'll keep an eye on him and Oscar Piastri as they make their way down into turn 6. as Max Verstappen gets past Isaac Hadjar there comfortably. Isaac Hadjar moving out of the way, ensuring he's not impeding, of course, the bigger brother team. And you could arguably say bigger brother of Max Verstappen as Max goes fastest with a 26.0 flat. 3.5 tenths quicker than Alex Albon. How is Lando Norris faring? Well, there's no purple sectors from Lando Norris, and he's 3 tenths down on Max Verstappen in that middle sector as Antonelli slots in behind Alex Albon there as Norris goes 1 and a bit tenths behind Verstappen. He lost, importantly, time in that middle sector. Not sure if he caught traffic there, maybe, as we have seen from drivers on push laps in practice. But if you catch a bit of traffic and that dirty air in the middle sector, it really does hamper you for throughout pretty much that whole sector. It really costs you a lot of time as Charles Leclerc goes third fastest, 3.5 tenths back at a 26.3. Really quite slow lap times at the moment, as this is only the first run in this session. The wind, is that catching people out as Piastri goes fastest with a 26.0. The McLaren's very quick in that last sector as Hamilton goes into fourth, slightly ahead of his teammate with a 26.296. As look who's gone purple in the first sector. Carlos Sainz there, who's currently down in 19th, still yet to set a lap time. Fernando Alonso has just gone P3, pushing the 2 Ferraris back down into 6th and 7th. What am I witnessing right here? What am I witnessing? Of course, it is still only Q1. 10.5 minutes remaining of this Q1 session. And Liam Lawson moves up into 10th at the moment. There's still lots of improvements to be had as Carlos Sainz makes his way through Magnus and Beckett. He has to navigate his way past Colapinto. Has that affected his middle sector time? We will see. Of course, former winner here, Carlos Sainz, in the Ferrari, now in the blue of the Williams. And he did a 34.8 in that middle sector. It's level pegging with his teammates. So he's losing a little bit of time in that middle sector. As Ollie Behrman, as we know, has got that 10-place grid penalty, goes ahead of Charles Leclerc into P8. Isaac Hadjar also goes ahead of Charles Leclerc as Ocon moves up into 13th. We'll keep an eye on Carlos Sainz, though, as he seems to be the quickest man out on track of those on push laps, and he goes up into 11th, slotting in directly behind his teammate, but he had a bit of a slow last sector there. Well, I say a bit of a slow last sector. He had a considerably slow last sector there. He was 2 tenths off of his teammate in that last sector alone. If he'd equalled his teammate in that last sector, he would have ended up faring much better and ahead of him. So lots on offer here, lots on offer for these drivers. As Yuki Tsunoda makes his way round the last corner, he needs a big performance here, Yuki. P14 at the moment, but still the top 14 are separated by 6.5 tenths. Not a lot to separate them at the moment, and there are most definitely going to be improvements here. And, well, there's going to be massive improvements in the overall lap time as well. We know that the Ferraris are able to do low 25s, as are the McLarens, as can Max Verstappen. So in the early stages of this qualifying session, it's just all about making sure that you can get through. But at the moment, it is Colapinto, Gasly, Stroll, Bortoletto and Hulkenberg in the drop zone. And, well, speaking of Stroll and Colapinto, they are on push laps right now. Let's see how they fare. Colapinto, is he receiving any dirty air from Esteban Ocon? It might be negated, though, and at least levelled out by the toe from Ocon down the hanger straight into Stowe corner of turn 15. But that was a 35.0 for Colapinto in the middle sector. That is 17th fastest. That is not good enough for him. His first sector time, while it was green, it is the slowest of everyone out there at the moment. And I don't think Colapinto, unless it's a mega last sector for him, on this second lap on this set of tyres, as Colapinto's gone off in the last corner. Colapinto has gone off. We were just on board with him. And what has Colapinto done? He was pushing on a second set, on the second lap on this same set of tyres. And we have just seen Colapinto go off and then spin in the last corner. He has got going again. Only a momentary yellow flag. How much damage is in that car? I'm watching the onboard now of Colapinto to see what he has actually done. And he's just gone into a spin. He's got onto the curbing as he did hit the barrier, Colapinto. He has hit the barrier. How bad is that? So on the exit of turn 18, he's gone all the way onto the curbing. It's almost a very laboured, slow crash for Colapinto. And I think the car is okay, but no, the front right is gone. The front right suspension has gone, but can he make it back to the pits? Of course, this is a very, very long track here. There could be a red flag. Colapinto is still going. Bortoletto is hoping it's not a red flag because he is coming around the last couple of corners at the moment and he's looking to improve on his lap time and drag himself out of the bottom 5. And he's unable to do so as he's currently in 16th at the moment. His teammate is also improving. Well, he's improving in the middle sector. His first sector wasn't very good. As a yellow as Colapinto has indeed pulled over, it seems. Colapinto, can he still get going? It's very dangerous for him at the moment. I think he's right suspension, and there we go, red flag, Colapinto. There we go. So yeah, it's on the exit. As he's getting down on throttle before the last corner, it's this section here. He's on the exit curb in through turn 17 on the entry to turn 18, and the car's gone round here. A very laboured crash, but what that has done is that he's gone in sideways. The right rear hit first, and then his front right suspension, unfortunately... No, sorry, his front right suspension went into the barrier first, so that's broken his front right suspension. So, not good for Colapinto. Could this be his last race in F1? Could this be his last race in F1? That will be, obviously, of course, fans of Jack Doohan. That's what they'll be hoping for. But yes, Colapinto unable to continue in this session. And we'll be starting from 19th tomorrow, or potentially dead last even, depending on where Gotti Bearman is able to qualify. But, right, red flag right before Hamilton final push lap. Yeah, look, it's okay. They're on the same set of tyres anyway, so for them to improve would have been... I mean, they probably could have improved, but it's a tall order for them still. But, oh dear. Oh dear. Give Doohan another crack. I don't think Doohan will be given another crack, no. I think they'll be... I think they'll probably be seeking Perez's services. There have been rumours, of course, about Valtteri Bottas making a step into that seat. I don't know, but yeah. Why does he do this, Taco? I know. Testing restrictions make it hard for people coming up. If they put an F1 Academy driver in a car for a while, she could have a chance. Yeah, look, I mean, this is obviously what we're seeing right now is the lack of testing. Colapinto had 6 months out of F1. He's now been chucked straight back in. He has ended up doing very limited amount of running in a previous Alpine car, and he's gone to an engine that he's not familiar with. He's been put in an environment that is not very good. He has signed a 5-year contract with them, but yeah, I don't know. He's crashed, obviously. It's the concerns about Colapinto initially, wasn't it? Was that he was potentially on course for being suited by Red Bull, but his crashes at the end of last season put them off, and now that's what we're seeing now. So, Colapinto, yeah. Could I get a vid of the crash? I'll try and find one, yeah. I can link it in the chat, but I'm going to end the poll, actually. I always forget to do this. I'm going to end the poll, so you guys cannot be reactionary, those of you who haven't voted yet, as you do think 37% equal, Norris and Piastri and Hamilton. That's intriguing, and it's intriguing that more of you think Verstappen will get on pole position than Charles Leclerc. Always interested to hear your thoughts, guys. But yeah, Colapinto, I mean, we've seen a few of those teams get caught out. I mean, the Alpine in particular has been caught out twice this weekend from the curbs. So let me see. Let me find the spin of Colapinto. But the car was a little bit squirrely before he even got into the entry there. So I've got this. I don't know if there'll be region blocked and so forth. It's just a link, so you can check that out on Twitter. Check that out. That is a Colapinto spin. You couldn't vote in the poll. Was there no other option? No, I only have 4 options, so... Colapinto may be saved by how Gasly's car is right now. Yeah, he's... The Alpine is struggling here this weekend. Massively struggling, so... Can I put the sectors? I can do. Hang on. Let me know if you want it like this or not. I mean, I don't know. You guys, you're the viewers. Of course, you can let me know. But they're in... So that's where you can see the sectors. So you've got red for Sector 1. Sector 2 is blue. Sector 3 is yellow. of course. It doesn't look very good at the moment because we have we have a red flag, but bring back Cyril. I've seen a video of a little girl saying names of F1 drivers. She said Colapinto as Lala Pinto. That is Nico Hulkenberg's daughter. I saw that video. Yeah, that's Nico Hulkenberg's daughter. So, red flag track does look different because I've activated the sector times. You can have DRS as well. You can see here, but I feel like it's just a bit too messy with the DRS zones. There's only 2 of them down both straights. I don't think you really need to see those, to be honest. But we can have a look at the sector times. So. We'll wait till I'll wait till the red flags. I'll put them back on when the red flags when the red flag is gone, because it looks a bit messy at the moment with our red flag. So the reason for the red flag is that Colapinto has spun. He's had to retire the car. You can see his little icon there just past turn 2 where my mouse currently is. And yes, that is where Colapinto, unfortunately, he is crashed. But he crashed in the last corner. He didn't crash where he is right now. He tried to get the car going again, but he was unable to do so as he has got too much damage on that car. All of his own doing. No one to blame but himself. But that is the second time that we've seen an Alpine take a spin here this weekend on the curbs. Gasly in FP1 through Copse Corner turn 9. And now Colapinto through turn 18. It seems to be... I do think the curbs actually do look a little bit different this year. It looks like they've almost got a bit more... They're a bit more serrated. They look like there's a bit more of a little drop to them. Of course, these cars, the ground effect era cars, they're trying to run them as low as possible to try and get as much performance as possible. And that means, of course, you are susceptible to more curb strikes. So session will resume at 21 minutes past the hour. So that means we are looking at just a few minutes' time, guys. Just a few minutes' time. Colapinto seemed promising at first. Maybe it's the car. I think it's a combination of, like, yeah, the fact that he's been out of F1 for so long and that he's ended up just jumping into a car that he's not very familiar with in a very high-pressured environment. And obviously that's where he's found himself at the moment. So, are the Ferrari boys safe? I don't think so. No, I don't think anyone's safe at the moment, to be honest with you. I think there's significant improvements out there. Maybe Piastri with a 26.0, but I'd expect to see everyone back out there doing at least another push lap, that's for sure. There is a lot of improvement at this circuit. Now, of course, there's 6 minutes 49 seconds remaining. A red flag in qualifying conditions does pause the session timer. It doesn't run down like it does in practice. So we do have that. Not very familiar with and not very good. Gasly ain't exactly lighting the world on fire in that car, but exactly, yeah. It's not like he's being absolutely trashed by his teammate week in, week out. And Gasly's a considerably more experienced driver as well. He's been driving and using that Renault engine for quite some time, whereas Colapinto was Mercedes with Williams. It's very different, as we've seen, of course, Lewis Hamilton struggle with the Ferrari and take his time, as Carlos Sainz as well. Andrew, thank you for the 5, by the way. I remember how hyped everyone was when Alonso got pole in Japan during Q1 in the wet in 2017. God, yeah, going back a few times now. I mean, look, I've said it every single session thus far, I think. I still think you give Lewis Hamilton and Fernando Alonso, those McLarens, they are fighting it out for the championship comfortably. So they still have it regardless of their age. And yeah, you give those guys a car underneath them that they're confident in. This is what we'll see. So what's that? What is he sending me there? So yeah, we're just waiting. We've got just under 2 minutes, guys, until the session gets back underway due to this red flag. Oh, right. There we go. 100% Alonso or Hamilton would win the championship if they were in the McLaren. Yeah. So I think age, obviously, they're still got it. They're still driven as well. A lot of it's the mental side. Like how the longer you're in a sport, like younger kids, obviously, they're fearless. They have all the experience behind them. And they're able to take, say, more risks than what you do when you're older because you have so much experience behind you already, so many kind of like negative memories and connotations to certain scenarios through your time racing. So Yeah, but those guys, they still have it. They're still driven. They wouldn't be in the sport if they still wasn't. So why did Ollie get a grid penalty? Because he crashed entering the pit lane under red flag conditions in FP3. So, yeah, 4 penalty points, unforgivable for Ollie Bearman. That's why he is going to be getting a 10th-place grid penalty tomorrow. And it's a shame because he's been quick here. He's been quick. As green light, pit exit open. Q1 is back underway. So at the moment, we have one definite who is out of Q1 and will not be making it through to the next session. That is Franco Colapinto, who brought out that red flag. So guys, let me know what you think. Do you prefer these sectors here, or do you like it is? Just let me know. Hang on. We've got... so that's what they look like, sectors. I can't change the colours. I can't make it any better than that, but you let me know if you prefer that or not, just so that you know where they're going through. Plain map. You like it? No. No. Do a poll. Do you know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to remove it. I like the cleaner look. I am the captain. I am the captain now. So, yeah, look. I think we're just going to keep it like this. Sector times. You can see the sector times there. Simple. I like to keep it clean. I don't like to do things. If they improve it, then maybe. But yeah, unfortunately, I can't change the colours and so forth. So, and for some of you that are colourblind as well, we're very inclusive and stuff here. I'm thinking of you. But right, guys, here we go. Here we go. Q1 back underway. You know where the sectors are. Sector 1 is down to turn 6. Sector 2 is all the way down to the exit of Maggots and Beckett's, as there have been some reports of drops in the pit lane. Might be worse than before. Oscar Piastri has just reported to his pit box. Do we have rain in the air? Let's see. Cheeky, as Oscar would say. Yeah, just cheeky little bit of rain, as he is on a lap right now. So let's stay on board with Oscar Piastri. He's on the same set of tyres that he has already set his good lap on, the 26.0. Can he improve? We will see. Has a bit of traffic to contend with. Kimi Antonelli just up ahead of him. Oscar Piastri looking to bounce back, of course, and regain the advantage that he has over Lando Norris. 22 points it was before last weekend. Now it has been slimmed down to 15. If he finishes first and his teammate finishes second, can he put that 7 points advantage back together? Further 7 points advantage, 22 points over his teammate. As an incident involving Charles Leclerc, yellow flag infringement. What has happened there? Charles Leclerc noted yellow flag infringement. We will keep an eye on that and see what occurs. But Charles Leclerc, was he speeding under yellows when Colapinto brought out those flags earlier on, and then eventually the red flag? We will see, as Albon is improving, by the way. You can see some green sectors there. Hulkenberg, of course, looking to drag himself outside of the bottom 5 and get into Q2. That Stake F1 car is looking to score 4 races in a row for Stake F1, and of course he would love to make his life much easier, starting further up the grid, then starting dead last like he did last time around at the Red Bull Ring. As Hamilton reports, the track is definitely not the same, more slippery than before. So that's what Lewis Hamilton has reported. So are we going to see any improvements here? Well, Lando Norris has definitely improved through the middle sector. He's 3 tenths up in that middle sector than he was before, but he's unfortunately negated that by a slow first sector as Alex Albon moves up into P3. 900ths of a second behind Oscar Piastri. So there we go. Significant improvement out there for those on fresher tyres, as Lando Norris Lando Norris does improve over the last sector, but he, on that same set of used tyres, is in 5th place at the moment. What an unbelievable lap time that was from Alex Albon in P3. Alonso is not going out there. He's not risking it at the moment. He thinks he's safe as Bortoleto moves up into P11, and Nico Hulkenberg could only move himself up into P15. So at the moment, that means Lawson, Tsunoda, Ocon, Colapinto, we know, is already out, and Gasly are out, as Max Verstappen does improve. Slightly younger tyres than that of the McLaren of Oscar Piastri and Lando Norris, which has meant he has done a 25.886, but still brilliant nonetheless. No further investigation for that yellow flag infringement for Charles Leclerc, as Lewis Hamilton couldn't improve last time around, as Ollie Bearman has gone fastest in the middle sector. So fresh set of boots is really working out for some of these drivers at the moment. We'll keep an eye on Yuki Tsunoda, though. He's coming through the last couple of corners. Can he drag himself outside the bottom 5 and get himself out of Q1? Yuki, He can, because he's just jumped all the way up into 6th place with a 26.2. A great lap from him there as Ollie Bearman's gone 3rd with a 26.0. Antonelli is now at risk. He's in the drop zone. Antonelli needs a good last sector here. His first sector was good. It does look like he's improving overall, Kimi Antonelli. Even though his first sector was yellow, it's a sub 28 second. Antonelli should be improving here. He's on a fresh set of tyres, but can only go P8. That's slower than Ollie Bearman, who has a 10-place grid penalty for tomorrow. Colapinto, we know, is out of this. Pierre Gasly still has time to settle up. These drivers still have 1 minute 30 seconds to make their way round to the start-finish line to start a final lap, but there is significant grip out there if you're on a brand new set of tyres. Charles Leclerc is on a lap at the moment and he needs to improve. He's 13th at the moment. He's on 7 lap old tyres. Can he improve here? He's done a 28 flat in the first sector. That's not particularly quick. It's all about the middle sector for Charles Leclerc. Lewis Hamilton, you do suspect, is safe. As we know, Colapinto already out. Gasly probably won't significantly improve. Liam Lawson has only done a 28.1 in the first sector. So Liam Lawson a bit under pressure here as he makes his way through Copse Corner at the moment. Charles Leclerc, he has gone green in that middle sector. 34.6 from him. So that's not too bad. But that's 2 tenths down on Ollie Bearman, who went quickest out of everyone in that middle sector. Let's keep an eye on Charles Leclerc, though, as he is in 13th at the moment. Bortoletto is in the pits. That is it for him. He is at risk as Sainz has gone fastest again in that first sector. The Williams are supremely quick as Leclerc does improve and heads up into P8, pushing those below him further down and closer to the bottom 5 as Carlos Sainz. We'll keep an eye on him as he makes his way through Copse Corner. Hadjar moves up into P8 at the moment, but it's all about Liam Lawson. He's got one more corner to contend with. The corner Colapinto spun out and Liam Lawson can just about get himself out at the moment into P14, but Sainz is improving. Gasly is improving. Gasly, who dug deep last time around at the Red Bull Ring, he has currently done a 27.797 in that first sector, which arguably the Alpine has absolutely no right to be setting in that first sector at the moment. Pierre Gasly absolutely wringing the neck out of that Alpine as we have checkered flag, and well, the likes of Lewis Hamilton and that risky for them, risky by Ferrari, as he was teetering close to the bottom 5 there. Sainz is improving though. He's got one last corner to contend with, and Carlos Sainz moves to P8. Lewis Hamilton's 14th. It's only Lewis Hamilton's very fortunate here that Pierre Gasly is the only driver remaining out there who can improve, because he could potentially be 15th. Lewis Hamilton, as Gasly moves Lawson out of the top 15, moves up into 15th place. Pierre Gasly, he gets himself out of Q1 once again, which he doesn't have any right to. Liam Lawson, after the highs of his best finish in F1 ever in 6th at the Red Bull Ring last time for the Austrian Grand Prix, is out of Q1 here at Silverstone. Bortoletto and Stake F1, who have been riding a higher recently, they're not able to continue that in qualifying, at least, as they are down in 17th and 19th. And who else? Who else but Lance Stroll? Who else but Lance Stroll out in Q1? He so desperately is wanting to extend his record of Q1 exits. While his teammate, his older teammate, is up in P5 and 4 tenths quicker, Stroll is down in 18th. Oh, however, can I just state, look at that field spread. Other than Colapinto, who crashed, the top 19 drivers are separated by less than 7 tenths of a second, round a 1 minute 25 second lap, or 1 minute 20 second lap. That is unbelievable. The top 15 are separated by less than half a second, less than 4.5 tenths. The top 15 are separated by. The top 10 are separated by 3 tenths. That is so close. At the start of these regulation sets, you would see that field spread. Like, you'd see it be 2 seconds between the whole field. That is super close. But Lawson reporting, yeah, I had no grip. I have no idea what happened. There is a yellow. No idea exactly what that's for. Maybe some more marbles on track. But, wow. Stroll's consistency is remarkable. It most definitely is indeed. Oh, dear. Deary, deary me. But guys, thank you for tuning in as always. Welcome. Nearly over 5,000 of you in the stream. Great to see, obviously, the return in viewership. Please hit that like button. Let's get the stream to 1,000 likes. And as always, if you're new to the channel, or if you've been viewing this channel for quite some time and you're still yet to hit that subscribe button, please do. We are trying to achieve 50,000 subscribers this weekend, and what a milestone that would be. So yes. What an interesting Q1 there. Colapinto out there. He was a very early scalp in this session after crashing in the last corner, bringing out the red flag. Nico Hulkenberg out in P19. Stroll P18. Bortoletto 17th. Lawson 16th. But I tell you what, look at Ollie Behrman. How much of a shame is it that Ollie Behrman has a 10-place grid penalty for tomorrow due to that terrible crash that he had in the entry to the pit lane under red flag conditions, but has also picked him up 4 more penalty points. I mean, 10 places, and he's got so much pace around here. So the Ferraris on old tyres. Do you guys listen? Yeah, the Ferraris were on old tyres. They risked it for a bit of a chocolate biscuit. They stayed on the same set of tyres, so don't worry, the Ferraris are still quick. But yeah, a little bit too close for comfort, in my personal opinion there, with the Ferraris. But they obviously want to save, if they can, a set of soft tyres. It can help them in tomorrow's race. And, of course, when it comes to qualifying now, because they can probably, because of that, normally throughout at least one run in all of the qualifying sessions, the teams will at least use an old set of tyres. By doing that, Ferrari's little gamble has paid off a bit, as they'll be able to use a brand new set of softs in every single run now in Q2 and Q3, unless they decide to save them for the race tomorrow. Always handy, I guess, to have a brand new set of softs available come the race, but qualifying, we know, is super important, and you don't want to risk flirting with going out, especially with how close the field spread is here. Look at that field spread. The top 15 separated by 4 tenths, just over 4 tenths. That's unbelievable. That is so close, especially around a circuit like this that is a bit longer than others. So, I'm guessing Colapinto won't be racing on the next GP. Who knows? Who knows? I guess it depends how much money his sponsors can drum up. That's the thing, isn't it? So, Stroll is consistently inconsistent. Brazil Q1 being P1 last year, controlling and micro-controlling corrections in Australia and getting knocked out in Q1 many times in a row. Yeah, I mean, he's clearly got no interest, of course. He's got no interest in this year. But still, like, your teammate's up in P5, man. Just 538 subscribers till 50k. I know, not long to go. Ferrari can cook. Stay with you. Yes, they still can. Merck's 11th and 12th. Look, you have to look at the fact of Russell did exactly what the Ferraris did. He did his first initial lap, and then he did stay on that same set of tyres. Oscar Piastri, his tyres were a bit older than Max Verstappen's, which is why Max Verstappen was slightly quicker. Ollie Behrman did his on a brand new set. It just shows that how much the track is improving out there, especially if you can catch a bit of clean air. That's also super important in these early qualifying sessions, is that track position is key. If you catch some traffic through Maggers and Beckett's, you're going to lose a considerable amount of time, as we've seen throughout this session and through all the practice sessions as well when drivers have been on push laps. So it's about being on the track at the right time, and if you can get some clean air like Behrman did, like Albon did, you can set those sort of lap times. And come Q3, the teams will get that. The drivers will get that. But in Q1 and Q2, it's very difficult to do so. It's just about getting through to Q3 for these top teams, the guys who are expecting to fight out for pole position. Lawson excuses? I have no excuses for him. He just clearly said he had no grip. Should have managed it better. Him in P16 while his teammates up in P9. He should be doing a lot better than that, Liam Lawson. So, yeah, not exactly the start to this weekend that he would have wanted, as the RB has looked pretty good. The thing is, there is pace in that RB car. So, yeah, he's going to have to rely on the strategy tomorrow. Maybe hope that he sneaks an extra starting place position with Ollie Behrman's 10-place grid penalty incumbent. But the way Ollie Behrman's going, I mean, he could be qualifying quite high up. So, yeah, we'll see. Here we go. Green light. Pit exit open. Here we go. Q2 is underway. 15 minutes to go in this session. Who's going to go out here? Yuki Tsunoda's done very well to get through to Q2. Can he sneak into Q3? We do have the Williams, who have been struggling, of course, of recent. Struggling to finish races and struggling to start them. they're through, and well, at the moment, the Williams are the fastest through the first sector. Quicker than Verstappen, quicker than Norris, quicker than the Ferraris. And intriguingly, Lewis Hamilton is 15th fastest in the first sector. So a lot of time to be found for Lewis Hamilton in the first and second sector. His second sector, he is down in 17th place. And we know that's not the case of Lewis Hamilton's abilities from what we've seen in that Ferrari this weekend. It's just about timing, that timing of finding traffic and hitting traffic at the wrong moments and wrong sections on this track can be so detrimental to you. But Max Verstappen looks like he's the first driver to make his way out of the pit lane. He's not waiting around, and we'll see how he fares. Seems to have sorted out that Red Bull overnight, it seems, as they so often have done, the Red Bull team. Let's see how he fares today. Looking, of course, to try and sneak a podium position. I'm surprised Red Bull hasn't experimented with putting Verstappen in the Racing Bulls car. They don't want to do that. The optics, could you imagine the optics of Max being better in the Racing Bulls car than in the bigger team? Oh, it'd be absolutely horrendous for the brand. Absolutely horrendous. Stroll should maybe try other racing series. That's what's always been the rumour, but I don't think so. I think even if he doesn't like it, F1's kind of like... He's been in F1 for nearly 10 years now. It's kind of like all he knows. He's comfortable. He's used to the whole routine of F1, whether he likes it or not. And yeah, one day he'll leave, but when that is, who knows? So, even as a Red Bull fan, I can't deny that the car this year is a literal boat. Well, yeah. Anyone who's got a pair of eyes, I think, can see that Red Bull has been very difficult to get on top of. And of course, if you're not Max Verstappen, obviously a very talented driver, someone who's also been influential in the development of that car and has got used to the way that obviously the Red Bull cars have driven for the last 6 years, 7 years that he's been at the team. It's super difficult for anyone to jump in and just instantly get anywhere near that. So as we have witnessed. But anyway, speaking of Verstappen, here we go. Q2 is underway. He's going to be the first driver to set a flying lap. Interestingly, while Max and Piastri are on brand new tyres, as is Oscar Piastri and Lando Norris, Charles Leclerc and Lewis Hamilton are on old tyres. They're on the same set of tyres that they used in Q1. Okay, so that is interesting. Clearly, Ferrari wanting to hold back a set of soft tyres for potentially the race tomorrow. That's the way that I see that, considering they didn't use an extra set when it came to Q1. So, yeah, let's see how they fare. But this isn't going to be a lap time, or the Ferraris aren't going to set laps that are anywhere close to what the McLarens and Max Verstappen are able to achieve here. But we'll stay close to them. I mean, a sub 28 second in the first sector is pretty decent for Lewis Hamilton, but it's nowhere close to what Max Verstappen has been able to achieve in that first sector. As you can see, a 27.649, the fastest first sector time we have seen in this qualifying as of yet. As he makes his way through Maggots and Beckett's, and well, he is going to be hampered a little bit here by the slow-moving Esteban Ocon through Maggots and Beckett's. Of course, you want as clean a run through there as possible because you can suffer from that sliding around in the dirty air. But he's negotiated his way through there very nicely with a 34.272. 2 tenths improvement on the previous best of Ollie Behrman in the middle sector, as Oscar Piastri is also faring quite nicely as well. Lewis Hamilton's middle sector, you can see there what used tyres do compared to old tyres as new tyres, because Hamilton did a 34.6 in that middle sector. As we see Verstappen getting close to the 25-second mark there, a 25.316, a brilliant lap time from him, as Hamilton, on those used tyres, bleeding time over the duration of this lap here at Silverstone. Does a 26.1. Oscar Piastri, a very, very good middle sector from him. Purple there. Let's see how he fares as Lando Norris is starting to go, starting his lap, as Charles Leclerc does a 26.3 on 11 lap old softs. Not entirely sure what the approach there is from Ferrari in this first run, but we will see how it plays out for them. No doubt getting into the pit lane as quick as possible to put on a fresh set of boots as Piastri goes. Oscar Piastri, there is no difference between Verstappen and Piastri's lap times whatsoever. The exact same lap time. 25.316 for Oscar Piastri and Max Verstappen, and Verstappen is number one because he set the lap time first. So you don't often see that gap as 0.000, do you? Fernando Alonso looks to be good here, seeking another Q3 performance for him as he is in P3 on a brand new set of tyres, sets at 25.7, so just under 4 tenths back from Verstappen and Piastri. But you do suspect Piastri and Verstappen's lap time there is sufficient for them to get through. I don't think there's going to be a massive improvement over the rest of the field, or from the rest of the field in this second run. As, oh my goodness, Lando's just done a 34.111 in the middle sector. That's a 10th quicker than that of Verstappen and his teammate Oscar Piastri. Let's see how he fares. He's been the quickest man in this last sector for the majority of this weekend. Let's see how he fares as he went through Stowe Corner past his grandstands section there. As Russell is stating, his outlap is way too slow. I'm having to back him up. I'm not entirely sure what he was referring to there. As he goes just under a 10th quicker than that of Verstappen and Piastri, who set identical lap times. A 25.231 for Lando Norris there. A very, very good lap time. But at the moment, you can see it is only the Mercedes who are yet to set laps. Well, as Yuki Tsunoda has bowed out of his lap as well, it seems. But Kimi Antonelli coming around the last corner, he's only able to go 11th fastest, but that is on a set of used tyres. George Russell is on new tyres, though. How does he fare? Round the last corner, he does much better in P4, but only just ahead of Fernando Alonso. He's in P4 at the moment, 4 tenths back. So those cooler track conditions than what we saw yesterday haven't really helped the Mercedes that much. George Russell stating that, of course, it was the weather conditions, the hot weather conditions that have hampered Mercedes in this regulation set and even this season, and was hoping for cooler conditions, which he got, but it seems not enough for that Mercedes to perform here compared to the McLarens, to the Red Bull Verstappen, and even to the Ferraris. But the Ferrari's still yet to do a lap on a fresh set of tyres since the very first run in Q1, which seems a very long time ago now. You can see there Hamilton in 11th, but Leclerc in 13th, and that is because they were on considerably used tyres. 10 laps Hamilton's softs have done, 12 laps Charles Leclerc's softs have done. But we can see what new tyres can do for you. As Fernando Alonso, not happy about Kimi Antonelli. I mean, it's good he will get a penalty. Good position for us is what Alonso is reporting in relation to Antonelli preparing for his lap there, holding up fast drivers coming through. But at the moment, yes, in the drop zone, your eyes and ears are not deceiving you. Hamilton, 11th. Antonelli, 12th. Leclerc, 13th. Gasly, 14th. And Tsunoda, 15th. Ferrari will put on new softs now. They can't not. But I'm a little surprised that they haven't done so already. This has got to be in relation to using the softs for tomorrow, or having a brand new set available to them tomorrow. Because normally you would see 2 brand new sets of softs used in Q1. Then you'd see this first attempt in Q2 on the old set on the used set of softs. And then that means that they're able to use new softs in both runs in Q3. However, unless maybe they've got less softs available to them and they've used more in practice than they were presuming they would do. There's also that as well. I'm not entirely sure. So it could be that it's not just about the race tomorrow. It could be that, yeah, they've just used more in their data gathering when it comes to practice. That might be why. So they actually don't have the softs available to use in quali. Which is a bold strategy from Ferrari, to say the least, if you've come into this qualifying session without a sufficient amount of brand new softs available. So... but we have 6 minutes remaining. Let's see. I just think it's always super risky. I think it's just always super risky to try and bank on that one lap. If you can try and get 2 laps in, that's absolutely great. I mean, arguably, Norris, Verstappen and Piastri, they don't need to go back out there. They can save their softs. They've got that banker lap in, you know. They're not going to see... I don't think we're going to see the teams below them, or enough teams below them to threaten pushing them out in... out of Q3. They're not going to get into the low 25s. I could be wrong, but I just don't see it. So, why did I wear my Ferrari shirt? I don't behave. It's okay. It's okay. It's chill. It's okay, guys. This is still okay. Don't worry. You should at least have 5 set of fresh softs for qualifying. I agree. Yeah, I agree. How they haven't is bewildering, to be honest with you. So, we will see. Any chance to highlight the sectors? I'm not going to highlight the sectors. No, I'm not going to do that. But we can have a look at sector times. Let's have a look at sector times, though, while we are just waiting for the drivers to come out and do their final run here. And you can see Sainz quickest in the first sector. That Williams is super quick for the first sector. We have seen Lewis Hamilton do a sector time like this in the first sector, by the way. So there is potential for all these drivers to do better, particularly Hamilton and Leclerc, who are down in 14th and 15th in that first sector. You can see there Norris and Piastri dominating the middle sector. Where you kind of expect that McLaren has always done very well in the tight, twisty sections and circuits, and the last sector as well. Surprisingly, Max Verstappen very good in the last sector. The Red Bull has struggled through the slow speed corners for the majority of this season, and the fact of it, he is quickest at the moment in the last sector, which is just it's the hanger straight down to turn 15 slow corner, and then the last couple of corners, which are slow section. That's very good from him. So maybe he's lower downforce package compared to the McLarens is actually benefiting him at the moment. But yeah, regardless, Max, what a turnaround, and a turnaround from Red Bull from yesterday, where he was really, really struggling, arguably the biggest since of all season, I think so. Who do I think is going to win at Silverstone? Oh, we'll see. We'll see. Ask me that when we know the grid order. Ask me that when we know the grid order. So, I do like this shirt, Alan. It's the Miami one. So, it's going to fare well. Yes, finally, woo! The Ferraris are out on a brand new fresh set of tyres, guys. And I suspect everyone here will be on brand new tyres. Norris, Verstappen and Piastri out on the same set of tyres. I suspected that they would actually stay in the pits. But they've gone out there just to see if they can improve on the same set of tyres. We'll see if that's possible or not. It's a tall order at Silverstone because of the amount of energy that is put through those tyres. But yeah, let's see what Lewis Hamilton can do. He has been doing 2 outlaps previously when it comes to his push laps in practice. Is he going to do the same here? I don't know. We will see. As Piastri was told, it looked like some cars were bending the rules a little, leaving the garages there, is what was informed to Oscar Piastri. So always a bit tight with teams getting out of the garage. We'll see if anything comes out of that. But let's keep an eye out on Lando Norris, who's about to start his lap here on a used set of tyres. So we'll keep an eye on Lando Norris, currently at the top of the standings, only by 8.5 hundredths of a second there ahead of Verstappen and Piastri. So identical lap times, but the ones we really want to keep an eye on are the Ferraris. What can they set? Really, they need to do low 25s. That's what they need to be doing to be comfortable into Q3 here. That's what matters for them. And so we'll keep an eye out on Charles Leclerc. They're currently in the bottom. They're currently 11th and 13th at the moment, as they have not set any laps on a brand new set of tyres. It's their one and only opportunity here. They will not get another opportunity as Charles Leclerc makes his way through the loop, as does Lewis Hamilton as well. And well, George Russell is just ahead of Charles Leclerc at the moment, and that is not what Charles would have liked to have seen, is the rear wing of George Russell, as he'll be giving off a bit of dirty air there as Ollie Behrman goes very nicely for the first sector. Where has that pace from the Haas come from, by the way? Ollie Behrman is currently occupying the top 5 in both Sector 1 and Sector 2 at the moment. But Lewis Hamilton, I said we've seen a 27.5 from him in the first sector before, and we've just seen it there. Lewis Hamilton, a 27.5 fastest out of everyone in that first sector. But remember, it's just about solidifying your position into Q3, as Ollie Behrman goes 4th fastest. A 10-place grid penalty for Ollie Behrman tomorrow. Oh, what if for Behrman? Because it looks like he's going to get through to Q3 comfortably here at the moment. But there are green sectors across the board, as Lewis Hamilton has gone 2nd fastest. I tell you what, this pace showcased by Lewis Hamilton right here, and even Charles Leclerc, I think the Ferraris are on for pole position. It's going to be super close between the top 5, you do suspect, as Antonelli make sure he doesn't get in the way of Lewis Hamilton. He's already got in the way of that of Fernando Alonso, as Charles Leclerc does go top with a 25.133. But Lewis Hamilton pips him and goes P1 in Q2 with a 25 flat there. Fernando Alonso improves and pushes George Russell out into 8th place. Yuki Tsunoda is setting a lap time here for the first time as well. As you can see, he is improving. Let's keep an eye on Yuki. Can he get through. Can Yuki get through to Q3 here? It'll be a tremendous performance from him if he can do, as he's been struggling so badly recently in that car. He's currently in 15th. He's done better than previous, but can he get through to Q3? This is what, of course, Red Bull will be wanting from him as the second driver. He comes across the line. 10th place. It's going to be a tall order for him. It's the checkered flag. That's it. There are improvements around the grid at the moment. Hadjar is not improving significantly at the moment. Isaac Hadjar, he could be out in Q2 here as Verstappen comes into the pits. He's safely through as Hadjar does move up into P11. Yuki is safe for now. How about Esteban Ocon? He's green in the first sector, but yellow in the second. And Ocon doesn't improve. Ocon out in P13. Antonelli is the one to watch. He is improving, but his middle sector is slow. It's green, but it's slow in comparison to those ahead. As Yuki is out. P11 as Gasly has potentially got through to Q3 again. Alex Albon is out in P13. I think Gasly has got through to Q3 again. How does he do it? As yes, Antonelli moves up into P8. A good lap time there at the end from him. And that is it, ladies and gentlemen. We have lost Carlos Sainz, Yuki Tsunoda, Isaac Hadjar, Alex Albon and Esteban Ocon. And Pierre Gasly has got through to Q3 once again in an absolute tractor of an Alpine. How he's doing it at the moment. He did it in the Red Bull Ring last time around. He has done it again here. Super impressive drive from Pierre Gasly at the moment in that Alpine, but is really not getting enough plaudits that I have seen from many out there. So, but woo, we are in for a showdown in Q3, ladies and gentlemen, because Lewis Hamilton, fastest 25.084 on a fresh set of softs. Charles Leclerc was half a tenth back. Could we see a Ferrari front row lockout with Q3 underway? Lando Norris didn't do a second push lap in that set in those last time around, so there is still improvements you suspect from that of Lando Norris, as well as Max Verstappen, as well as Oscar Piastri. But I think the top five here could be separated by very small margins. Ollie Behrman, by the way. Ollie Behrman, what if? Pit lane entry crash in FP3 that has gained him a 10-place grid penalty and 4 penalty points on his licence. And, well, we have now seen him get through to Q3, but he's going to be starting 10 places lower. But I think Behrman, the way he's going, let's have a look at the sector times, ladies and gentlemen. Let's have a look at those sector times where you can see Lewis Hamilton there. Fastest in that first sector, second fastest in the second sector, and the last sector he was third fastest. But Ollie Behrman, he's fourth fastest in the first sector. He was occupying. He's only 2 tenths off the McLarens in the middle sector. That is unbelievable. 11th fastest in the third sector, so a bit of improvement for him there, potentially. But wow. Such a shame he's got that 10-place grid penalty. But yes, Lewis and Leclerc getting their act together on a brand new, fresh set of softs. But it's going to be super close. And the thing is, as well, is that there's going to be no traffic in the way when it comes to those Q3 runs. It is drivers out there on their own, just going as fast as they possibly can. What is the point of softs in race day? I find them almost as useful as the full wet. Yeah, they're not very useful. Not particularly here at high energy circuit. They never really are. They will be utilised potentially if there is safety cars, and obviously you can make them last on lower fuel at the end of the race because you can be quicker. We have seen the softs used here in the past at Silverstone, but yeah, it's not a tyre that you're going to use with full fuel on board for sure. As I said, the soft tyre strategy started on the soft tyre now never really works anymore. It used to, but not so much anymore. Because they just degrade too quickly. Simple as, really. So, even if Lewis manages to clinch pole here, it's a guaranteed strategy fumble from the pit wall tomorrow. We'll see. They were hating on the... No, I'm not saying it. We were... Look, good vibes. I'm giving off good vibes with the shirt. That's all I'm saying. Will McLaren and Red Bull Racing change tyres for Q3? Yes, they will. Yeah, so they'll have everyone now, other than maybe Behrman and Alonso and Gasly. They should all have 2 brand new sets of softs to use in Q3. Normally, the midfield teams, they use an extra set of softs to get them into Q3 because obviously it's a massive benefit if they can get into Q3. So they normally have only like 1 attempt, really, at a decent lap in Q3. So Alonso probably only has 1 set available, as does Behrman, as does Gasly. I think the Mercedes are okay. and obviously the top 5 as well. So maybe top 5 for Lewis instead. You have to remember Max and both McLarens. Max are in the pit. Yeah, no, look, I think it's going to be super close. I genuinely think any of those top 5 could be on pole position. I still think Lando will be on pole. I still think he's just got enough in that McLaren. And I still think I am still going, unfortunately, guys, for the boring front row lockout of Norris and Piastri. In which order? I think Norris, but it could quite easily be Piastri. Never rule out Max, of course. Never rule him out. But as I'm watching a replay of Max, actually. Max came into the pits, by the way. Max came into the pits and bowed out of that last push lap not because he was comfortable being through, but because Esteban Ocon locked up into that corner, which caused Max to lose a considerable amount of time. So, do I think Russell is the most dislikable F1 driver in history? No, not at all. The fact that Max is anywhere near the top 5 is unbelievable. I know. I did say after yesterday, I was like, if he's in the top 5 tomorrow in qualifying, that's just like an unbelievable drive from him. And well, it is an unbelievable drive from him at the moment. It's an unbelievable turnaround from Red Bull as well. They've clearly worked hard throughout the night, back at the factory, back in the sim, and they've figured something out. 100% they've figured something out, because that car was in disarray yesterday. Looked like it just wanted to do anything but turn into an apex, and now Max is able to fight for pole position. So you're just curious to see how high Ollie can get up there. I mean, the way he's going at the moment, I think he could finish where he is. He could qualify 6th, and that means he'd be demoted to 16th, but I think he could be comfortably. I mean, the Mercedes don't look great. They generally don't look like they've got pace. And I think if Antonelli or Russell can sneak into P6 here, and I say sneak, if they can get into P6, I mean, and P7 and be the best of the top 5, because I think the top 5 are in a league of their own, I think that's a genuinely good performance from them. So, do I think Lando can get pole? 100% I think he can get pole. It's not long to find out. Not long to find out. Session will resume at under less than a minute now, guys. Less than a minute. 2 minutes 2 is when the session green light is going to be on. Guys, if you are enjoying this stream, please hit the like button. Nearly just over 700 likes at the moment, and just over 6,000 of you in the stream. Big thank you, as always. We'll be back tomorrow, of course, for the race, live an hour before it starts, so that we can have a look at the strategy options. Going to be key tomorrow, of course. There is rain in the air. The weather keeps changing. I am looking at it right now, and the weather tomorrow, it is now 77% chance at midday, and then it's pushing itself further out towards the race. So 20% chance for race start tomorrow. When I checked earlier on, that was nil point. So yes, we'll keep an eye on those weather conditions tomorrow to see what could be potentially in store for us. It was raining down south. Yeah, we had plenty of that earlier on where I live as well. So yeah, I'm south of Milton Keynes, south of Silverstone Race Circuit, and we had plenty here, but it didn't hit Milton Keynes. So why does the car behave different on different tracks? Like if it can turn one track on another track, it can't, because different tracks require different characteristics. So this is a very fast circuit, harsher braking zones. Yeah, there's some harsher braking zones, and doesn't necessarily. I mean, it's got a real mixture really. So you need like a really good balance of the car. Whereas like other circuits require you purely in your stopping power and your rear traction. Different circuits require different characteristics out of the car, and the car may be strong in one area and then not strong and then weaker in another. So that's why it can be performing very well at one circuit and then very poor at another circuit. But yeah, we did expect really Red Bull to be a bit better at this circuit because it has fared much better in the medium to high speed corners, similar to Ferrari as well. Where the McLaren has just been so much better, arguably, than the rest of the field is in the low speed corners. It just has unbelievable traction out of the low speed corners, where it's just able to obviously keep its tyres in much better condition than everyone else. That's been where their real strength has been. So they've been able to go quicker for longer, whereas the other teams have had to sacrifice that to an extent because their tyres fall off. But here we go. Q3, guys. Q3. Thank you for nearly just under 500 subscribers till 50k now. Much appreciated. If you are new to this channel, or if you have been at this channel for some time and you haven't hit the subscribe button, please do. It'd be much appreciated. What a milestone that would be for this channel and this community that we have built here. So big thank you, everyone, for tuning tuning in as always, and hopefully you stick around for many years to come, because I plan on doing this for many years to come as well. But here we go, Q3 underway. Ollie Bearman, the driver, who unfortunately has a 10-place grid penalty for tomorrow due to that terrible pit lane entry crash under red flag conditions. Also picked up 4 penalty points for his troubles there. Let's see what he can do. Let's see what he could have done if he didn't have a 10-place grid penalty. Where could he start? His teammate is down in 15th, and well, if Ollie Bearman qualifies 6th, he'll still be starting behind his teammate, which would be an absolute travesty, but hey-ho, them is the rules. Max Verstappen, of course, eyeing for another pole position here. Could he do something a la Suzuka, where out of nowhere he qualifies on pole position? It's all been all talk about Lewis Hamilton and the Ferraris. It's been all talk about the championship contenders, Lando Norris and Oscar Piastri. And, well, everyone's written off Max Verstappen. Well, we know what happens when we write him off. He pulls something out of the bag. But look at Ollie Bearman, a 27.7 in the first sector. That's an unbelievable first sector time. He's only a couple of hundredths behind Max Verstappen there. He did a 27.7. So Max could do a bit better in that first sector, but we know he is super quick in the middle sector. The fastest first sector times we have seen thus far has been from Lewis Hamilton with a 27.5, and Carlos Sainz as well. As Piastri does improve on his fastest first sector time he has done this weekend thus far, a 27.6 from them. The McLaren, the first sector is not where they have been particularly strongest compared to their competitors. As Norris, whoa, he's lost a 10th there to his teammate in the first sector, but can he recover it? We'll keep an eye on the Ferrari's progression as well, as Verstappen teetering close to that sub 34 second mark in the middle sector, 34.189 for him. That is very, very good. Let's see what he can do. Can he get to sub 25 seconds as Ollie Bearman does a 25.899? Very, very good lap from the young Britishman there. The young Englishman. Let's see, Max Verstappen, one more corner for him to navigate through club corner. Max Verstappen, what time can he set? It is a 25.267. He lost a bit of time in the last sector there, it seems. So Max Verstappen, let's see how he fares compared to the likes of Lewis Hamilton and Charles Leclerc and Oscar Piastri, who has gone purple in the first and the second sector. He wants to extend his championship lead again, and he's gone sub 25 seconds. How about his teammate Lando Norris? He seems he's a little bit off the pace compared to his teammate. If he has a mega last sector here, he can get provisional pole. Let's see what Lando can do. No, he is second, just under 2 tenths behind his teammate, as Piastri at the moment has locked out P1 with the fastest first, second and third sector. How about Charles Leclerc and Lewis Hamilton? There's no purples from them, but they are going quite quickly. Lewis Hamilton seems to have the advantage over his teammate at the moment. Can he get on the second row provisionally, as George Russell is 6.5 tenths behind that of Oscar Piastri? A slow lap from him as Charles Leclerc only moves up to 4th. How about Lewis Hamilton? Where can he put his Ferrari? P2. Lewis Hamilton at the moment, just over a 10th behind Oscar Piastri, who did a sub 24 second. That lap time of a 25.130 is not Lewis Hamilton's fastest time. He is set in qualifying at the moment. His Q2 time was quicker, but even then it wouldn't be quick enough for pole position as it currently stands in this first attempt here in Q3. Pierre Gasly, who has got his way into Q3, well, where can he put his car? He's trying to be the best of the rest, no doubt. George Russell 6.5 tenths back. I think the Mercedes are gettable here, and no, Pierre Gasly falters there. Okay, Pierre Gasly falters 2 seconds behind. Big issue there. As Verstappen is reporting, the car is so difficult. The car is just so difficult, Max Verstappen is reporting at the moment. So that track temperature is increasing. Is it increasing at the worst time potentially for some of these drivers? As Max Verstappen, P4 at the moment, just under 3 tenths back from Piastri. But Lewis Hamilton, the driver, chasing down Oscar Piastri, but that is a very, very good banker lap from Oscar Piastri, the first driver this weekend to go sub 21 minute 25 with a 24.995. Ooh, there's a lot to play for here. Kimi Antonelli, there's room for improvement with him as he was on a used set of tyres. Oh, actually, that would explain why George Russell was also quite slow as well. He was on a used set as well. But yes, let's see. I mean, look, even if you're a Lewis Hamilton fan, pole position would be absolutely amazing. I am a Lewis Hamilton fan. But a front row start for Lewis Hamilton at Silverstone, you would have bitten someone's hand off for that. If you were given that at the start of this week. in that Ferrari, considering how strong the McLarens have been. But yes, that is a tasty top 5 at the moment. Tasty top 5. There is still improvement for Charles Leclerc, most definitely as well. That was not a good lap from him. 3 attempts back from Oscar Piastri. Lando Norris, there is improvement for Lando Norris, most importantly there as well. He is not out of pole position by any means. His first sector time was a bit slow. It was a 32.7. No, 32.7. It was a 27.7, apologies, where his teammate was a 27.6. So he lost a bit of time there, importantly, in that first sector compared to his teammate, which put him a little bit on the back foot. So yes, there is improvement there for Norris. There's probably still improvement potentially for Oscar Piastri. There is improvement for the top 5 here. Do not rule any of them out for pole position. I think this order could still change up. Let's see. Guys, if you are enjoying this qualifying session in this watch along, yeah, as always, hit the like button. 7,500 of you here in the stream. Big thank you. Oh, let's see what's going to happen. 50k subs for the race tomorrow? Yeah, I think so, Mike. It's the same top 5 as in every race this year. There's no point of getting excited. Oh, boo-hoo. If you approach life that way, you're never going to be happy. You're never going to be happy. Let's get excited because there is room for improvement here from all drivers. And it's a change-up of the grid. It's a change-up of the order. The McLarens aren't the all-supreme car out up front. There is definitely possibility we could see this completely flip on its head and Verstappen be on pole and Charles Leclerc be second with Lando Norris starting 4th and Piastri starting 5th. That is why this is so exciting, even if it is the same top 5 drivers that we see. So, are they going to change tyres? They will indeed, yes. So there will be a brand new set of tyres put onto all of them. As you can see them leaving the pit lane now. Kimi Antonelli, the first of those in P9 at the moment. He has only set a lap time here on a used set of tyres, hence why he is down 1.2 seconds back from Piastri. Similar to Pierre Gasly as well. He was on a set of used tyres, so that's why he was his first lap time there was significantly poor. But every team here now should have a brand new set available to them. Ollie Behrman, 8th place at the moment. He's also got Ollie Behrman had 2 brand new sets of tyres available for this run. That is phenomenal from Haas, from Ollie Behrman. Normally they have to use at least a used set of tyres in this run because they don't expect them to get through. But Ollie Behrman has been so comfortable in getting through each session that he's got enough soft tyres available to use. So brilliant. Let's see how he fares. But yes, Russell, a lot of work to do for George Russell. That air temperature, that track temperature increasing slightly to where basically that Mercedes doesn't like to perform in. As we know, George Russell complaining about the weather conditions and how the Mercedes is very susceptible to the hot weather. Not that it's particularly too hot here in the UK at the moment. 21.4 degrees is quite cool considering what we have been receiving previously and experiencing previously over the last few weeks. It's been unbearable getting towards the 30-degree range here in the UK. And, well, we would expect the Mercedes to do much better than they currently have done. But P6 would be a good result at the moment for where that Mercedes is performing. But we'll see how they fare. Max Verstappen, last out. Ooh, bold strategy call there for Red Bull. Max Verstappen, the last driver out. With 2 minutes remaining, he wants to be the last driver to cross the finish line. We'll see how that plays out for him. But let's stay on board, shall we, with Antonelli, who is currently in P9, and let's see how he fares, and then we'll make our way through the field as they progress on their laps. But Kimi Antonelli, the young 18-year-old Italian, of course, he has a 3-place grid penalty for this weekend as well, bearing in mind, as he got awarded that for that first lap collision with Max Verstappen at the Red Bull Ring in Austria last time around. So Kimi Antonelli, if he qualifies P9 at the moment, he'll be starting P12 for tomorrow, so he'll be looking to try and qualify as high as possible. Interestingly, Antonelli and Behrman, former F2 teammates as well, just behind one another in the standings, both of them with grid place penalties for tomorrow. So Kimi Antonelli having to navigate his way past Max Verstappen. It's a 27.6 from both of those Mercedes drivers in the first sector. That's a very good first sector time from both of them. Ollie Behrman again, another 27.6 in the first sector. He is sublime in that Haas through the first sector. Lando Norris, better from him, a 27.659 in that first sector, but still not as good as what his teammate previously did, doing a 27.6 flat. So Lando is still a little bit behind as Piastri improves with a purple first sector, improving on his previous best in sector 1. We'll see how the Ferraris get on as they're making their way down the Wellington Straight. They're through the loop. We'll see how they fare as Kimi Antonelli is improving here and is no doubt going to move his way above Fernando Alonso. Will he be able to get above his teammate in P6 at the moment? We will see as Lando Norris exits Maggots and Beckett's and will cross that second sector. Thomas Lewis Hamilton's gone fastest in the first sector. He's a 10th up on Oscar Piastri at the moment, and at the moment you would say Lewis Hamilton is on for pole position as Russell puts in a stonker of a last sector and jumps up into P2. What a lap from George Russell as Behrman qualifies P8. He's going to be qualifying 8th at best with a 10-place grid penalty tomorrow. Lando Norris has one more corner to go. He's fastest in the middle sector. He cannot get provisional pole and take it away from his teammate. Oscar Piastri has had a bit of a slow middle sector. Can he improve here? Because he is under pressure from Lewis Hamilton, who is looking... He can't improve, so it's all about Lewis Hamilton now and Max Verstappen, as Max Verstappen has gone 7 thousandths of a second quicker than that of Lewis Hamilton. Wow, we are in for a very close finish here. It's currently Piastri leading from Lando Norris. Their laps are done as Leclerc moves up into P4. But how is the last sector from Lewis Hamilton? Can he get pole? No, he's ballsed it up in the last sector. He is a full 10th back and behind George Russell. But Max Verstappen, let's stay on board with Max. He's the only driver now who can take pole position away from Oscar Piastri, and he is currently on course to do so. A sub 34 second middle sector for Max Verstappen. Can he keep that Red Bull car in check through Stowe corner, past the Lando Norris grandstand? He makes his way into Val corner, turn 16, the left-hander, making sure he doesn't hit the sausage curbs. It's all about the throttle on the exit through club corner. Can Max get pole? He can! Oh my God! Oh my... Whoa! What have we just witnessed? That right there, Max Verstappen on pole position, a 24.892. He has absolutely no given right to put that Red Bull on pole position right now. The struggles Max has had with that car. Credit where it's due. Credit where it's due. That is some lap. A whole 10th over Oscar Piastri. Wow. Wow. Yeah. That is better than Suzuka. That is better than Suzuka. Or Max Verstappen on pole position by a full 10th over Oscar Piastri in P2. It'll be Verstappen and Piastri lining up side by side on the front row tomorrow with Lando Norris on the second row. Very, very close between the top three. George Russell, where did that lap come from? Where did that come from George Russell? Wow. Unbelievable there from Mercedes, digging deep there. Lewis Hamilton, what happened to Lewis's last lap, last sector in particular? Not entirely sure what happened to Lewis's last sector. Maybe had a mistake or a wobble through Stowe or a lock-up. I don't know. Need to see a replay of it. But P5 for Lewis and P6 for Ferrari. That is so disappointing. They're on the third row, Ferrari. They're on the third row. That is very, very disappointing. As I'm watching Oscar Piastri's replay for the last couple of corners. And, oh, Oscar had a snap of oversteer on the same exit curb through turn 17. Oscar Piastri, who didn't improve, he did a 25 flat. And, well, how much time did he potentially lose in that last corner? As I'm watching Lewis Hamilton through Stowe. As I'm watching Lewis now, this is exactly what Lewis did when he went into turn, into Val, into club, and Lewis just having so many corrections in the last sector and not happy, Lewis Hamilton. That Ferrari just seemed to give way a little bit in the last few corners, which cost him there, as did Oscar Piastri as well, having a snap of oversteer, which he had to catch through the last corner, where Colapinto lost control of his car, but Oscar Piastri in a much better position to save it. But yes, that is the top three. What a lap from Max Verstappen, a 24.892. Where has that come from? We said He went out last. It's always risky to be the last driver out there, but sometimes you benefit from the track conditions improving. And, well, I think Max, Red Bull, I think they timed it perfectly. And, of course, Max out there on his own, no care in the world, sticks it on pole position. We'll see if he can convert that in the race tomorrow. That's going to make it very tasty for us viewers tomorrow. Verstappen, Piastri and Norris up front. Of course, Lewis Hamilton in a Ferrari and Leclerc in a pacey Ferrari. Will they be able to make quick work of George Russell in P4? We will see. Kimi Antonelli will start P10 tomorrow after a free-place grid penalty for that first lap crash last week with Max Verstappen. So we'll see how he is able to do nearly half a second back from Max Verstappen there. Ollie Behrman, unfortunately, has that 10th-place grid penalty for that pit lane entry crash in FP3 under red flag conditions. He'll be starting 18th tomorrow. That is obscene considering how much pace Ollie Behrman has. Only half a second, well, just under 6/10 back from Max Verstappen. That is tremendous in a Haas and also from Ollie Behrman. That'll promote Alonso up 2 places into P7 tomorrow, and also Pierre Gasly as well. They will be benefiting from those penalties from Antonelli and Behrman, the former F2 teammates. Gasly, by the way, can we just give W's to Pierre Gasly? He is in an absolute dog box at the moment. He's driving an absolute dog, and the fact of it he's dragging that Alpine into Q3 consistently is obscene. Absolutely obscene. Of course, there's rain in the air tomorrow as well, guys. There's rain in the air and Max is starting on pole. Never say never. Carlos Sainz in P11, Yuki Tsunoda P12, Isaac Hadjar is 13th, Albon is 14th, Esteban Ocon 15th, Lawson 16th, Bortoletto 17th, Stroll out again in Q1, Hulkenberg 19th. He's going to have to do magic, and the Sauber strategy team are going to have to work their wonders again to try and get him to score points. And Colapinto is last because of that crash that he had in Q1. But of course, with some potential grid place penalties there, the order will change slightly. But yes, that is your Silverstone, your British Grand Prix grid for tomorrow. Ooh. Wow. Wow. Who do I think is going to win Silverstone now? Don't know. I generally don't know. I know Max has put it on pole there. Unlike Imola. Was it Imola? Where was the one where I thought he wouldn't win? I think it was Suzuka. I was like, oh yeah, he's going to be overtaken there, but obviously overtaking was impossible. I think here we have a very different scenario where, of course, it is possible to overtake at Silverstone. We have potentially intermittent weather. I don't know. I'm going to go out on a limb. I'm going to be bold here, and I'm not going to say it's Norris. I'm going to say the win is going to come from outside of the top 2. I reckon you could even see maybe Leclerc benefit from... I think anyone from as far back as 6th could win this race tomorrow. I think we're going to be in for a very interesting and topsy-turvy race. My bold call is that no one in the top 2 wins. But yeah, we'll see. As I said, the weather, it keeps getting pushed out. It keeps getting pushed out to be a higher percentage for the race start. So we've seen, of course, changeable conditions before at Silverstone. I think we're going to see it again here. So it's always been the same from the beginning of the season with Red Bull, Verstappen. Not so good in practice, but there for quali. Yeah, I mean, look, they clearly found They found, not to say trickery, it's not trickery, but they clearly found the issues yesterday overnight. And yeah, what a turnaround. What an unbelievable turnaround. That's a better lap. That's a better lap than what Suzuka was, personally. Because I think that Red Bull has been in a much dire state than at the start of the season. And I don't think, I still think that Ferrari, it's always going to be very close, but I still think Ferrari could have been, I think what you saw there, once again, is probably the driver making the difference. You saw Piastri have a little wobble. I've just seen a replay, actually, of Lando having a bit of a wobble in the last corner. You saw Lewis Hamilton have a bit of a wobble in the last couple of corners. But what you didn't see from Max Verstappen is a wobble. You saw him execute his lap perfectly. And that was like what it was at the start of the season. You had Piastri and Norris in the quicker car, not able to execute that car perfectly, those laps perfectly, whereas Max was in a slightly slower car, but able to execute it perfectly. So, thank you, Ella, much appreciated. My pleasure, guys. My absolute pleasure. Of course, we'll be here tomorrow, an hour before the race begins. The stream, once I end this stream, I'll be sending you straight over there. I will run a poll of who you think is going to win this race tomorrow, so that you guys can let me know. But yes, we'll be live an hour before the race starts, so that we can have a look at the so that we can have a look at what the strategy options are, what the weather's saying, etc. All those things. But let's have a look at sector times, shall we? Let's have a look at sector times. And, well, we can see here Max Verstappen quickest in that first sector over Lewis Hamilton. Lewis Hamilton went purple in that first sector until Max came through by 7 thousandths of a second. So Lewis Hamilton was on for pole position. However, Max wouldn't have been on for pole position because Max's middle sector was unbelievable there. 39.73. George Russell had the fastest last sector out of anyone. Where did George grab that from? That was unbelievable there from George Russell. Lewis Hamilton's that lap he set there, his last sector time was not this. I think if Lewis had set this in his last lap there, he would have been second, but he didn't. He did a 23.4, I think is what he did, which is like obviously down here, so considerably slower. And Oscar Piastri also had a wobble in the last corner as well. But shall we have a look at top speeds? Let's have a look at top speeds, because this could be influential tomorrow, of course, if you're trying to defend and so forth. Speed trap leaderboard. And, well, let's have a look. And, well, Max Verstappen is fastest in the speed traps. Ooh. Fastest in the speed traps, but will that be of a detriment to him if it is raining tomorrow? Is he running a little bit less downforce than that of the McLarens, who, look, you can see here are towards the lower end of the speed trap? So a considerable difference there in top speed. Could that make it difficult? So maybe the McLarens will be hoping for a bit of wet weather conditions tomorrow so that they can utilise the extra downforce that they have available to them. We will see. So you're on race day, is it wrong to hope for rain? No. Hope for what you want. Hope for what you want. I call Ferrari with sandbagging. Don't count them out yet, especially if we see wet conditions. I genuinely think anyone tomorrow, in the top 6 can win the race tomorrow. Maybe except from George Russell, to be honest with you. I think George has put in an unbelievable... George Russell has put a lap in there. It's a bold claim. George Russell has put a lap in there that is as good as Max Verstappen's pole position. Because that Mercedes has been, like Max's Red Bull, absolutely nowhere all weekend. It has absolutely struggled, that Mercedes. You heard me. I would have thought a 6th place was better for George. Was the best possible. And yet he's got ahead of the Ferraris, and he's only 200ths behind Lando Norris. That is a serious lap from George Russell. Now, will he be able to do that in race conditions and under race pace? I don't think so, but that is a serious lap time from George Russell there that is arguably just as good as Max Verstappen's because of the positions they found themselves in. That Red Bull we saw in FP3 and we saw through qualifying that it was much better than the Mercedes comfortably. But yeah, that must feel like a pole position for George Russell getting that car into 4th there. So... Red Bull second seat is going to give you an aneurysm. Don't worry about it. I mean, Yuki's had his best qualifying performance for some time. P12 going to be promoted up to P11 because of Ollie Behrman's penalty for tomorrow. So, yeah, I mean, better from Yuki. He doesn't have the updated parts on his car either. So, definite improvements from him. Hopefully, he can build upon it. But the race, it's a very long day tomorrow at Silverstone. That weather, I'll show you right now. That weather, this is the BBC weather report right now, and you can see Silverstone. 18% chance of rain at 3 o'clock. A higher percentage of chance in the morning. Of course, we know that it can always dry out by then. But yes, that was 0 a few hours ago at 3 o'clock, and it's moving further and further into the day. So we'll check that, of course, tomorrow. So be sure to tune in before the race starts. The free practice times from Red Bull mean nothing. It's always fast in Q3. Not always fast in Q3, but... I've got to be joking with that George stuff, Rob. No, not at all. No. If you tuned into every single session this weekend, you would have seen how ridiculously poor that Mercedes has been. It's been absolute dog. Absolutely dog. And that is... For him to pull that out of his behind... in that last run and get fastest in Sector 3 as well. So fastest in Sector 3 out of anyone is a tremendous lap when it matters. So The iRacing sim will start raining after an hour. I'm not commenting anymore about Max to Mercedes. There's no need to comment on it until there's further information that's available to us. It's been spoken to death. Dosco, can me or anybody explain to me how was Leclerc second in Austria quali with 0.5 seconds off? Max was also almost a second down. Now 6th place Leclerc is 2 tenths down. Because it's a different type of circuit, Dosco. Red Bull Ring requires obviously a bit more rear traction, corners. Of course, it's very difficult to try and balance the car there. It doesn't necessarily play into the strengths of the Red Bull in particular there, whereas it massively played into the strengths of the McLaren, which has had very, very good rear traction all year. That's what you want, particularly through tyre management, particularly through Red Bull Ring here at Silverstone. I expected Max. That's why it was a bit surprising to see the Red Bull struggle from the get-go. That he was struggling for the mid-speed to high-speed corners, which they are on the majority of here at Silverstone. But they were struggling. Fair play to them. They figured something out overnight. Leclerc, I don't know what happened to Leclerc's lap. To be perfectly honest with you, I know where Hamilton lost his time. I don't know where Leclerc lost his time. So I'm presuming driver error again, similar to Lewis in that last sector. Lewis wouldn't have got pole position, but he would have been at least on the second row. He could have beaten Piastri from what we were seeing anyway from his first and second sector time. So, but you got to remember, Max didn't get to set a final run in Q3, did he, at the Red Bull Ring, because of he wasn't able to set a final run in Q3 because of Gasly's yellow flag, bringing out the yellow flag. So we don't know how quick Max could have ever have gone in that Q3 session. Probably not as quick as Leclerc because the Red Bull was not very good at the Red Bull Ring. But yeah, it would have been closer than what that gap was because he couldn't get that run. So no more merch, Aaron. I'm sorry. Don't see Max leaving before 2026 when Horner goes to Labour Corps. Yeah. The reason why people call Max a speed demon and 1 in a million talent is because of how much bold he is for almost every sector. Yeah, I mean, he definitely gets the most out of that car for sure. Massively gets the most out of that car. So, I know you look after every race week. I know you look after every race week, but after Silverstone, what particular track am I most excited about next? Let's have a look at the calendar. What do we have to come? Let's have a look. I am intrigued with Spa, and the Hungaroring. So Spa, I don't know if you guys are familiar, but Pirelli have announced for the first time in a very long time that they're actually skipping a compound of tyre. So I believe we are going to the C... We've got the C1, I think maybe we've got the C2, C3, and then something like the C5. So we're skipping a compound. And I think that's really going to spice up Spa. Because Spa's been a bit boring recently. I love the track, but it's been a bit boring because of the tyre strategies being just a simple one-stop and it being difficult to overtake because people have been on like-for-like strategies. Whereas that should really hopefully change up the strategies and make things a lot more interesting. So, and of course, the Hungaroring is always a great race. Always a great race, Hungaroring. There's only a few places to overtake there, but I feel like the Hungaroring always provides us drama. So, yeah. But yeah, the race, everything is still into play tomorrow. I mean, look, Max, we know, is a speed demon. He can get that Red Bull going very well over a single lap. But how will that Red Bull fare over a race distance tomorrow? That is the question. We don't really know how it would have fared in the race last week, only because of Yuki Tsunoda. We know that it was very poor in Yuki Tsunoda's hands. How will it fare here? Is it still going to have those issues on its tyres? Is it just a waiting game for McLaren to see when Max Verstappen's tyres start to fall off and we see something maybe akin to Spain where Max decides to do the aggressive 2 or 3 stop and the McLarens do a 2 stop instead, do 1 stop less? That's what we might see. It's going to be intriguing tomorrow, especially if it is a dry race. But anything can happen at Silverstone. So that's the thing. The George 1 stop from last year's Spa was the most snooze you've had. But even the 2 stop was a very conservative 2 stop last year. And no one could really overtake because everyone was on the same strategy as well. So no one ever really there was no real proper tyre offsets. So, yeah. Because there wasn't a lot of deg. I mean, the fact George was able to hold off Lewis Hamilton on that older hard tyre, That's why Pirelli's suggestion this year, or decision this year, of skipping a compound of tyre and switching it up a bit, should hopefully provide a better race, which Spa thoroughly deserves. So, could have Max risked his setup for qualifying? I think he may have done, Dusko. Yes. So, as we look, he is fastest in the speed trap. So, he's clearly running less downforce. Now, that will make him difficult to overtake. However, that's going to mean more sliding around, slower through the corners, like higher fuel. This setup may be very good on low fuel, but when it comes to higher fuel and the race tomorrow and looking after the tyres, it may be a completely different scenario. But if you're Max Verstappen and you're Red Bull, and this is where I appreciate Red Bull, is that they are ballsy. They know it's better to be out up front in P1 than it is to have maybe a better race setup where you're stuck starting in 5th. Because I think that's probably what would have been the case for Red Bull, especially if they'd stuck with the setup choices or whatever configuration that Red Bull was in as it was yesterday, Friday. So we will see. We will see. Less deg due to low downforce. Not necessarily, no, because if you've got less downforce, it means that you've got obviously less grip or less. You've got less grip for the corners, which means that you're more likely to slide around on the car, especially when you're trying to get throttle down. So that could be the problem. It means you have to scrub off obviously a considerably more amount of speed for the corners than those who have got more downforce. But yeah, we'll see. It's going to be an interesting battle tomorrow because the McLarens clearly have a little bit more downforce on the car compared to that of Max in the Red Bull. But look, ultimately, it's kind of like you'd rather be stuck the way F1 is at the moment. Even if you know you've not got a great race car, you're better off trying to utilize the car to your strengths. If you've got a good qualifying car, try and qualify as high up as possible. Make it difficult for your opponents to try and overtake you. You never know what can happen behind you. The McLarens might end up taking each other out, etc., etc. And you need to try and gain track position, and that's what obviously Red Bull have done with Max today. So brilliant. Play to your strengths, and that's, as I said, that's where you have to credit Red Bull, because they are always very ballsy when it comes to their strategy decisions, their setup choices. They're always like very forward thinking. And some other teams are maybe sometimes a little bit too cautious in that regard. But I do still think that tomorrow, I mean, the real shame, I guess, for us is, I mean, look, thankfully we do have a battle tomorrow with Verstappen and the two McLarens. I hope, and I do hope really, that George Russell moves out of the way. I know he's done a tremendous lap there. I do hope George moves out of the way pretty quickly to allow those Ferraris through, because I do think we could have a very intriguing battle tomorrow with the top 5. I don't think anyone is particularly going to run away with this tomorrow. I think it's going to be very close. And if the Ferraris can clear George quickly, then they are fully in the battle for the race win. And I think we could see anyone in that top 5, if they clear George, that is, and they don't allow a gap to form. We could see some undercuts. We could see maybe some overcuts. Obviously, if the intermittent weather comes in as well, we could see anything happen tomorrow. So there is still a race tomorrow, 100%. So I don't think it's going to be a one-stop. I think we'll see some teams try a one-stop to try and gain track position. Maybe the likes of Stake F1, because they have utilised that recently. Maybe Liam Lawson again after what happened in the Red Bull Ring, and he did so well there. But it depends on the weather. But I think the two-stop is probably the normal strategy here at Silverstone. Maybe even a three-stop. We don't know. But yeah, we will see. Right, I'm going to run a poll on the main, on the stream for tomorrow. Let me just have a look at it here. And then I need to go get myself ready because I've got to go up to Milton Keynes. Right, start a poll. Who will win the British GP? Verstappen. Let's go Piastri, then let's go Norris, and then let's go one of the Ferraris. There we go. So, there we go. 15% of you chose Max Verstappen for pole position, by the way. You were correct. You obviously, guys, were correct. But there we go, guys. That is it for today's stream. Why is that? Hang on. Wrong scene. There we go. No, they're all out shopping. So, but there we go, guys. Don't wear the shirt again. I will wear it again. I'll wear it again. No, look. I'll pay good money for this. It needs to get some use. If Lewis were to retire, which season would you say is best for him to do so? What, now or previously? Now, I mean, I don't know, maybe after 2026, 2027 maybe. So, I'm not using the HP PC, no. None of these sponsor me. So I really shouldn't be wearing them, to be honest, because I'm giving them free advertisement. So, but there we go. Anyway, guys, have a lovely rest of your Saturday. Get plenty of rest. Take stock of what has just happened there. Max Verstappen on pole again. Unbelievable lap from him. Arguably, I think, better than what we saw at Suzuka because of how much of a turnaround that Red Bull has just had from yesterday to today. But there are 52 laps, I think, at Silverstone tomorrow. It's going to be very, very interesting to see what occurs. So, yeah, be sure to tune in. We'll be live an hour before the race starts to have a look at the strategy options, of course. The weather. The key tomorrow is the weather, and see what we have in store for what is no doubt going to be a brilliant British Grand Prix. I still think anyone out of Max, Piastri, Norris, Hamilton and Leclerc can win. I am writing George off. While it was a great lap, I think that Mercedes just doesn't have the race pace like we've seen in all the practice sessions. But take nothing away from him. What a great lap. So, yeah, let's see what we have in store for us tomorrow. But, yes, guys, have a lovely rest of your evening. I'm not racing tonight. No, I've got to go drive 2 hours up to Milton Keynes now. So I'm doing a live show with the Missed Apex podcast. So, yeah, if you're there, guys, I'll see you there. If not, we will catch you tomorrow at an hour before the race begins. I'm going to end this stream, and it's going to send you straight over there. Let me know who you think is going to win the race. Enter into the poll. And, yes, continue to hit that like and subscribe button. We're fast approaching 50,000 subscribers. It's going to happen tomorrow. Cheers, guys. See you then. Bye.